So today we're going to be looking at this row of trees. So there's a whole bunch of them planted together. As I said before, sometimes it's nice to identify one tree. You can identify a whole bunch of them. So as you can see, we got kind of an upright, ovalish kind of pattern. And if we get closer, we can look at some of the other features. One of the things I always like to do is scrabble around on the ground and find some different things to look at. So I found a couple leaves, and unfortunately these leaves aren't the most durable, so most of them, as you can see on the ground, have totally disintegrated. But we have a couple left that have a decent shape that you can see, and a couple different sizes, and I've even managed to find a few of the maple keys. So you can see they're not attached anymore, but you can see where they would have been attached at one point, that kind of flat part, so something sort of like that. So you can see that the angle of attachment is what they call kind of a wide angle. They're not, it's not a narrow angle of attachment. It's kind of, the spacing between the seeds would have been quite wide, which is a good identification characteristic. The other thing I'd like to point out about the leaves is we have 5-ish lobes, 5 major lobes, and the leaves themselves come up to a kind of a sharp point at the tips, really fine. So that to me is a helpful trait for this particular tree. And the bark is kind of helpful too. It's sort of cracked but not too cracked, has some color variation, often quite mossy on this particular tree, and that I find helpful as well. And these branches are kind of high up, but if we look at some of them, if I come around this way, you can see them a little bit better. You can see that the branching is opposite, so the buds and branches are coming out opposite from each other. And we found some maple keys. We see that it's opposite. We found things that look like maple leaves, so we definitely know we're looking at a maple of some kind. Sometimes you'll also see the remnants of where the maple keys or samaras were attached. They look kind of like just little feathery kind of hairs hanging together in a clump. Not much of that left this time of year, but it can be a helpful trait for identifying maple trees from a distance. You'll just see all these little clumps of dangling things where there were samaras, or maybe even samaras still attached. So we know it's a maple, and I showed you the samaras, which have a wide angle of attachment and leaves that are quite pointed. So this is a Norway maple. Yeah, Norway maple.